The handcuffs clicked before I even finished locking my front door. 6:28 a.m. Frost on the gravel, coffee steaming on the porch. 2 patrol cars washing my farmhouse in red and blue. Sir, step away from the vehicle. I was holding a lunchbox. Across the road, Cassandra Vale stood in a silk robe, filming like she'd rehearsed this moment. That's him, he's trespassing on HOA property. Plot twist. I don't live in her HOA. I bought this farmhouse specifically to avoid people like her. 2 acres, no covenants, no dues, no committees measuring grass height. But Cassandra didn't like limits. She liked control. The officers checked the address twice. My mailbox read 1847 Ridge Hollow Road. Her subdivision sign sat 300 feet away. Different development, different plat, different jurisdiction. But she kept filming, narrating, smiling. She thought public humiliation would break me. She didn't know something about me. I've spent 22 years as a licensed contractor dealing with zoning boards and inspectors who mistake authority for personality. There's one rule in that world. Documentation beats drama. Every time. And by the end of this, Cassandra wouldn't just regret calling the police. She'd lose her power. And the neighborhood would finally see what she really was. My name's Daniel Mercer, 46, recently divorced, contractor. After surviving one nightmare HOA that fined me for a non-conforming holiday wreath, I swore never again. That lasted 12 days. Cassandra arrived in a white SUV with a clipboard tucked under her arm. I'm president of Brookstone Heights Community Association. I'm not in Brookstone, I replied. Her smile tightened. Well, proximity matters. That's how it started. Comments about my truck, my fence, my trailer being visible from their jogging path. Then came violation emails. Then orange flags in my gravel driveway marked encroachment. According to her, my driveway crossed into a shared buffer zone. There was no shared buffer zone. I had already pulled the original county plat before buying the property. Still, she escalated. Certified letters. Fake enforcement division notices. Threats of fines. The listed phone number disconnected. The mailing address, a rented mailbox. She was manufacturing authority. So I hired a licensed surveyor. GPS-calibrated stakes, steel markers, county-verified lines. When the crew arrived, she appeared within minutes, filming, objecting. The surveyor handed her the official map. She refused to touch it. 2 days later, she filed 6 county complaints against me in under 90 minutes. Electrical violations, zoning misuse, environmental hazards, noise, unsafe structure, commercial misuse. All false. The county inspector walked my property. Everything passed. You're the 4th person she's done this to, she told me. 4th. That's when I stopped defending myself and started building a case. Because this wasn't about grass height. This was pattern behavior. And patterns leave trails. Then she crossed the line. I came home one night to find a survey stake bent sideways. Security footage showed her SUV pulling into my driveway at 2:14 a.m. She kicked the marker, drove off. I sent the footage to the sheriff. She claimed harassment. Projection. Then came the texts. Contractor licenses can be reviewed. Insurance audits are devastating. Subtle, calculated. Then the worst one. A notice of license review taped to my door. State letterhead. Official-looking seal. My stomach dropped until I noticed the font was slightly off. No case number. It was fake. She had forged a state compliance notice. That's when fear replaced anger. Because impersonating regulatory authority isn't HOA drama. It's criminal territory. I drove directly to the licensing office. They confirmed it was fraudulent. They asked for a copy. Investigation opened. That's when doubt crept in. Because I'm not a crusader. I'm a contractor. Audits cost time. Time costs money. Money feeds families. For 3 days, she went silent. Then she invited me over. Her house looked half-packed. She offered coffee, then slid an envelope across the counter. $15,000. Gosh. For inconvenience, she said. Then carefully. Legal processes can get expensive. Translation, take it, stop digging. For a moment, I considered it. Because exhaustion is powerful. And she was betting on that. When I left her house, I wasn't confident. I was tired. 2 days later, she filed another police report claiming I was stalking her. Deputies showed up again, standing there explaining myself for the second time in weeks. It finally felt possible she might win. Not by being right, but by wearing me down. The shift didn't come from revenge. It came from accounting. Ellen, the HOA treasurer, called me. We've reconciled the accounts. We met at a cafe. She laid out statements across the table. Deposits made after Cassandra had been removed from the board 8 months earlier. Checks to vendors that didn't exist. Online transfers labeled administrative reimbursement. Total $38,742. Cassandra hadn't just been overstepping. She had been collecting dues and issuing fines after losing authority. The board had quietly hired an attorney. They were afraid of her aggression. But documentation changes courage. The board voted to freeze the remaining account funds, filed civil action, forwarded documents to the state. Meanwhile, the sheriff followed up on the forged notice. Metadata from the file traced back to her home computer. Same timestamp as one of the Falls County complaints. Paper trails don't argue. They don't shout. They just exist. In mediation, she arrived confident. I arrived organized. Survey records. Security footage. Complaint logs. Forgery evidence. Threat texts. Her attorney asked for a recess. When they returned, her tone changed. She agreed to withdraw all complaints. Pay for damages. Cease contact. Publicly acknowledge in HOA minutes that my property was outside association jurisdiction. That acknowledgement destroyed her perceived power. But the financial case moved separately. Bank records subpoenaed. Civil penalties assessed. Restitution structured. Slow. Methodical. Permanent. Her house went up for sale 3 months later. Not dramatic. Just listed. Consequences rarely explode. They accumulate. 6 months later, my driveway is quiet. No patrol lights. No orange flags. No SUV parked at strange angles. Just gravel, coffee, mountain air. Brookstone Heights still exists, but it operates differently now. Open meetings. Dual signature banking. Financial transparency. Reform replaced intimidation. My business didn't suffer. It grew. Because word spreads when someone stays calm under pressure. I didn't shout. I didn't retaliate. I didn't vandalize. I documented. That's it. Cassandra's mistake wasn't arrogance. It was assuming authority equals legality. It doesn't. Authority without jurisdiction is noise, and noise collapses under paperwork. Her fine for filing a false police report was official. Not viral, not flashy, but permanent. And records follow you longer than reputation does. The survey stakes are still in place, straight untouched, not as trophies, as reminders. This was never about sprinklers. It was about boundaries. Legal ones, personal ones, structural ones. Bullies count on exhaustion. They count on emotion. They count on you not understanding process. She underestimated one thing. I was willing to outlast her. Would you have taken the $15,000? Or would you have pushed forward? Because sometimes winning isn't loud. It's documented. And sometimes the only difference between losing and winning is knowing exactly where the real property line stands.